we must talk about the shocking revelation that has surfaced on US cable TV. You see, in the world of professione tennis, you typically have your typical victories and shiny cups, but very infrequently you get an incident that totally changes the audience's strategy. Without a doubt, history has just unfolded before our very eyes. Anyone who has been watching the Tennis Channel's audience figures over the last 48 hours has witnessed something incredible. A huge blip on the radar that is completely out of place for a typical mid-season program. Now think of the Tennis Channel, a network that distributes material to almost 60 million people. In general, homes in America appeal to a somewhat traditional, conservative audience. It's the place of deep statistics, courteous applause, and devoted followers. But that station recently fell right in the midst of nowhere. A whole social media storm that left Santa Monica's lawyers perplexed. The fuse was lighted by a spark. A 20-year-old left-hander from Quezon City, Alexandra. Indeed, the banners that flash are revealing the truth. It would be an understatement to say that the Tennis Channel was just taken aback. They weren't merely observed dozing off. They were totally overpowered. They attracted more than just the typical audience by displaying Eala's ascent into the top 50 and her unprecedented performance. They unintentionally unleashed one of the loudest, toughest, and most tech-savvy armies in sports history. Naturally, we are speaking of the Filipino population around the world. The video was supposed to be a straightforward player-to-watch function, but it wouldn't stay on the TV. It leaped over the fence. The network statistics, which are often saved for a huge final with the game's legends, reached unprecedented heights as fans tore it up, altered it, and blasted it all over the internet. The Titans are competing head-to-head with the interaction metrics. We are discussing GUF, Swiatek, and Alcar's levels. However, this was not a local hero in the United States. Ella, this was all about Alex. What's the big deal then? The sport has been searching for a new gold mine for 30 years. With Lena, they bet on China, and with Osaka and Nishikori, they tried Japan. But the Ella movement is a completely different animal. It is unavoidable, loud, and grassroots. Focus all of that intense energy on a single athlete who represents the aspirations of a nation in need of a superstar on a platform that reaches 60 million living rooms. The internet can be broken in this way. Today, we are changing course. Don't bother looking at the scoreboard. We are plunging into the chasm. We intend to dismantle the entire event, brick by brick. We will follow her journey from the gleaming courts of the US Open to the local courts in Manila. We must discuss Rafael Nadal's influence and the prestigious education that made her mentally tough. We'll go into detail about how her abilities changed to defeat big winners. Above all, we will determine why this particular internet craze on a cable network serves as a danger sign for the future of sports. At last, America is taking notice. The new competitor has been introduced to those 60 million members. Who is that? Music is no longer a question. The question now is, where does she end? Put on your seatbelt. We are delving well below the surface. To really understand the scope of what just transpired on the Tennis Channel, we must appropriately contextualize this explosion. You must first acknowledge the enormous hole that Alexandra Eala is entering. Southeast Asian tennis has long yearned for a legend who can transcend the local bubble. Yes, over the years, we have seen some excellent talent. We have undoubtedly seen tour veterans and grinders establish respectable livelihoods. However, a truly deadly singles danger on the WTA circuit is an absolute myth. The network undoubtedly expected that section to be a typical rising star puff piece, with a courteous nod of appreciation. Rather, they entered a tidal wave of patriotism. Remember, every time Manny Pacquiao enters the ring, this country comes to a full stop. The moment a player with 1% Filipino ancestry steps onto the court, this fanbase completely overwhelms NBA comment threads. Therefore, you get more than simply applause when you put Alex Eala, who was born and raised there, speaks the language, flies the flag, and wears her roots on her sleeve, literally donning those Sampa ribbons at Wimbledon, on primetime American television. You get a claim of ownership. Those fans think they are fighting with her in the trenches. And wow, what a journey it has been thus far. It wasn't an accident that the video became viral. It is the pinnacle of a meticulous, cruel, and brilliant ascent that began long ago. Let's return to the location of the concrete pour. It would be impossible to talk about ISA without bringing up Manacor, Spain, and the Rafa Nadal Academy. You are imprinted with a very particular brand of brilliance there. You can immediately identify that academy's fingerprint when you watch her work, especially in those videos that are burning up the internet. Her top spin's violent RPMs are where you see it. You can see it in her unwavering determination to keep every ball alive. Recently, Eala herself verified a rumor regarding her hitting sessions with Rafa. Imagine this. You are competing head-to-head with the King of Clay as a young child. His advice is to surround yourself with a close group of kind people. In the Shark Tank of professional tennis, that wisdom is the thin divide between crashing out and living forever. It may sound simple, even corny. The way her game has changed is blatantly clear evidence of Nadal's mentoring. Compare her 2025 run to the tape from the 2022 US Open Juniors, where she made history as the first Filipino to win a junior slam singles title. The growth is horrifying. She could thrive on hard work and a pure heart back on the junior circuit. Heart is insufficient in the major leagues when up against formidable opponents like Sabalina or monsters like Jessica Pegula. Artillery is required. Her new armament, particularly that lefty forehand, is highlighted in those popular Tennis Channel clips. In the women's game, playing southpaw is already a major cheat code. It completely disrupts the flow of other players and unlocks geometry that righties cannot touch. Eala has begun to flatten that blow. She is taking time away from her rivals. This was evident when she faced up against Clara Tolson in the US Open. The confrontation that actually made her entrance known to the general public. I did not give up even though she was behind in the decider. She applied the accelerator. The Rafa effect is what makes shielding into striking. The reason the American population is now locked in is explained by the New York run, thus we must talk about it. The US Open is more than just a competition. It is a wonderful reflection of the concrete jungle and a sensory overload. For her and her people, that podium finish was pure vindication, but the average American watcher could pass the regional games with little consideration. It transcended athletics. She completely dominated the fight for the flag and national service. Despite the oppressive weight of expectations, there was a clean sheet and not a single set lost. Since everyone expected her to win, gold was the absolute minimum and silver would have been disastrous. On the demanding WTA Tour, that kind of psychological armor is exactly what sets champions apart from the rest. Let's take a moment to return to that online celebrity. Charisma and charm are perhaps just as important in this digital age as a flawless forehand. Aya does a superb job walking the tightrope. She speaks well and with poise. She maintains her composure despite harboring an intense, indisputable pride in her ancestry. Consider that time at Wimbledon when you were wearing the Saguatita. It was a truly brilliant branding move. Whether intentional or accidental, it gave the world a symbol to cling to. When reviewing her season, broadcasters prefer to underline the visual anchor it established for her story. Or consider her relationship with Zon Sonmez. Finding common ground between two historians from distinct worlds. International viewers who are yearning for something genuine are moved by those human stories. Turning our focus to the play's fundamentals, we can see why her style shines on screen and propels those ratings to unprecedented heights. Her approach is exceptionally clean, accurate, and eye-catching. There is no needless yelling, simply fluid movement that resembles slow-motion poetry. That is the fundamental component of high-end sports entertainment. Her characteristic techniques create highlight packages, and her down-the-line backhand is rapidly becoming renowned. A self-sustaining cycle of popularity and visibility is created by such clips, which encourage subscriptions. But for a moment, let's remove the rose-colored glasses. The elephant in the room needs to be addressed. Internet fame is reciprocal. Millions of fans are drawn in by national coverage, but millions of armchair judges are also invited. The standard has been elevated to the top 50. It is no longer an experience to give up in the first round. It's disappointing. It is terrible how much weight she bears. Take a look at what occurred to Naomi Osaka and Emma Raducanu. In an instant, you change from being the media darling to the person that everyone wants to beat. Eala has officially taken over the living rooms of regular sports fans across America, as the Tennis Channel broadcasts to 60 million homes. She is now acknowledged by tennis fans worldwide as a true superstar, surpassing her standing as a national legend in the Philippines. For anyone on the other side of the net, such kind of identification drastically changes their strategy. The level of attention with which coaching teams will analyze her game frame by frame is unprecedented. They will undoubtedly target her second serve, which, let's face it, is still the part of her armor that needs strengthening. Although Clay is amazed by her high-kicking delivery, if she misses her spot by an inch, she may end up sitting up like a teed-up golf ball on the fast US hard courts. Those minor technological issues are not only apparent when everyone is watching, but they are also amplified by the spotlight of viral fame. But there is a darker side to this tale, which is precisely why everyone is currently giddy with hope. Eala has also proven to be quite talented. Rewind the footage to her altercation with Jessica Pegula in Miami to witness her adaptability on the spot, which is uncommon in a 20-year-old. Eala absorbed Pegula's heavy tempo like a sponge, despite the fact that Pegula plays like a relentless machine, shooting flat, low bullets. Rather than crumble, she held her ground. Although the scoreboard indicated a defeat, the performance exuded a sense of competition. The experts at the Tennis Channel are undoubtedly aware of her ability to hang at the 1000 level, as demonstrated by that match. It explains exactly why her highlights are flooding feeds. Before it soars, they are purchasing stock in her future. They are betting that a successful performance at a competition like the US Open or Indian Wells will transform that 60 million household reach into a veritable gold mine of viewership numbers. We also need to talk about the significant ramifications of the late-season Asian Tour. Even though tennis is a global sport, American media outlets are infamous for ignoring the tournaments taking place throughout Asia as the season comes to an end. As the indisputable poster child for the entire region, Eala is single-handedly changing that narrative. Eala must be included if the network wants to retain viewers on screens throughout those months. She serves as the crucial conduit, connecting American primetime audiences to the events taking on in Beijing, Hong Kong, and Tokyo. In many respects, the network's burst of viral popularity is an implicit acknowledgement that the tennis world's global center of gravity is changing. But let's examine why so many individuals were taken aback by this headline. Why did the American broadcaster get caught off guard? It exposes a clear blind spot in the data analysis used by Western media. The enthusiasm of diaspora populations is infamously poorly captured by traditional measurement instruments. They ignore the wider picture in favor of tracking local zip codes and the traditional country club clientele, who are typically wealthy and older. The galvanized digital energy of a younger, internationally connected generation was entirely disregarded. Because of how abrupt and coordinated the rise was when her highlight clip appeared online, the algorithms most likely identified it as spam. However, not a single robot was involved. It was a surge of real, breathing people. The tech engineer in California, the college student in Texas, and the nurse working shifts in New Jersey were all watching because, at last, they saw a face that resembled their own being hailed as a true headlining act on American sports TV. That is concrete evidence of the true power of representation. There was no athlete in front of those 60 million subscribers. In real time, they were seeing a societal shift. Additionally, since viral hits immediately result in corporate sponsorship checks, don't overlook the cash flow implications here. Playing under the Nike banner, she has already secured the swoosh. However, she is positioned as a possible crossover icon thanks to her prime exposure on US airwaves, which opens up a new level of American brand partnerships. If she can win a trophy in 2026 to legitimize this online buzz, and every serve, volley, and internet breaking moment will be broken down by us. We appreciate your continued support. Make sure you stay locked in if you want to keep on top of this topic and understand the complete breakdown of the WTA Tour's shifting power balance.